All right, here we are. I think I got the tech right that we are actually live and Instagram at the same time. At least I think that's how it's working out. We'll see if it is when I get a moment after we get this thing started. And today, I don't usually start out this long, but I'm going to start out this long today. And the reason is for the last couple weeks, I've been really diving into this aspect. Putting God first before everything, before anything. I don't care what it is, whatever you could think of in this moment, putting God in front of that. Before the thought of a religion, before the thought of my wife, my children, God first. Everything. And so I'm doing 52 days straight of every morning, waking up, getting into my journal, getting into studying Yeshua, and diving deeper than what most may do, in the sense of going beyond just the regular, okay, I could just go read the Bible. Well, guess what? That's not my thing. And this is why. And I say that because when I look at the Bible, what did Yeshua speak? Where he was, must have spoke Arabic. So then the words don't even translate to get to where we are today. So I'm really digging in like that, like looking at what does it look like to put God first, which is actually even beyond man's words. That's where I am. And so when I look at that and some things have transpired over the last few days, that's like, oh, okay. I see it beyond what I can even express in this moment. So that's where it is. Today, we're talking about stepping into your purpose. What does your purpose look like? I hate to break it to you, but your purpose is exactly where you are. I don't care who you are. Your purpose is where you are and what you're doing right now. You couldn't even do it if God didn't allow you to do it. So where you are in the moment, that is your purpose. Regardless of what you think your future purpose may be, your purpose is right where you are today. Even if that looks like somebody calls and says, hey, can you help me out? That's your purpose. Are you going to choose it or not? That's on you, but that's what we're here to talk about. So I'm excited to get into this conversation with everybody. That's the kickoff. It's what's on my heart. So here we go.
When I am asked to speak, I embrace the calling. It is my responsibility to make sure to leave everyone inspired to elevate in all aspects of life. In the 26 states and 10 countries, it has been my energy that is infectious and magical. The impact elevates everyone to new heights. It's time to conquer our challenges. Relationships across the board, communication gaps, fear of the unknown, limited beliefs in all that holds us hostage in life. The path to power is peace, and peace is the power to live by. The unique perspective that I bring to the table inspires all, professionals, executives, students, coaches, and athletes, to reach their highest potential. That is why I, Sid McNary, am known as the secret weapon. Whether it is tackling mental health issues, success in business, or winning at life, every moment counts. Get ready to receive the tools to win. It's time to win at everything. Let's connect today. Peace.
Hello, my name is Miles. Discover a powerful journey of resilience, purpose, and spiritual growth in the autobiography of a human by Sid McNary. In this compelling autobiography, McNary shares the personal challenges and triumphs that shaped his path to success while offering insight for professionals seeking deeper meaning and balance in their own lives. Drawing from his experiences growing up Catholic, participating in indigenous vision quests, and studying the Buddhist path, he reveals how diverse spiritual traditions ultimately guide us toward the same destination. connection with the Creator and our highest selves. Through practices such as meditation, yoga, and spirit medicine, McNary demonstrates how life's victories and hardships can become opportunities for growth, self-discovery, and lasting peace. The Autobiography of a Human is more than a memoir. It is an inspiring reflection for professionals striving to align purpose, personal development, and inner clarity. Available now on Amazon, this transformative story invites readers to reflect, grow, and step confidently onto their own path of self-discovery and peace.
All right, here we are. It didn't seem like it worked out quite the way I wanted it to, but we're going to go ahead and get started in this conversation, and I'll try to figure it out along the way as far as Instagram goes. But hey, it is what it is. We are live, and there's something off in my process of getting it live on Instagram. So I don't know what it was. I hit the wrong thing at first, so then I had to pull it off and I put it back up. It says I'm live. Dr. Five says he can't see it. And so there we are. We're in it. All right, let's get into this conversation. I'll figure out technology at some other technology moment. But because this conversation is too important in the, at least in the evolution of where I am today. Like, literally, what is my purpose and how am I executing it? Like, really, you guys heard me. That's why I went ahead and just added it into the beginning. But let's start off with that. Like, the guys sitting around, anybody really, but the guys sitting around that we're speaking to, how can they know their purpose? Like, what does that look like? Who's got it?
Okay,
well, I'll jump in. For me, I was just talking about this last night on my podcast and talking about your why. When you have a big enough why, you have a big enough how. And for me, honestly, it was back in 2008 when I was at a funeral and I was sitting at the back of the church and I was seeing them eulogize my coworker. And they were saying all these beautiful things that I didn't know about this person. And I thought to myself, if I died tomorrow, who would show up and what would they say? And it caused me to reflect and think about 10, 15 people would show up with some Miller Genuine Draft and Jack Daniels and Bon Jovi records and talk about all the stupid shit Chris did. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to have that as my legacy, even though I was homeless and have all these other accolades in my life. And so for me to find out what my why and my purpose was, I went home and I wrote my eulogy, which a lot of people don't want to do. And from that point forward, I determined that my why is to fight for what's right and what's fair, to risk for which that mattered, and to leave the earth a better place for who I am and what I do. And so every single day I wake up and I set that intention to be that person. And that's the leverage that helps me get through the tough times.
I like that. I'll follow up. And again, Sid, thanks for providing the platform for myself. And I guess I can speak for the others, Coach Hightower and Chris, for us to share today. For me, I had to ask myself this question, and I do it on a somewhat regular basis. What problem am I here to solve? What people am I here to serve? And what kind of man I want to become? And I had to ask myself that question. And I make sure I ask on a periodic basis because your purpose can change. It can shift over time. So there are probably a lot of people watching this live on replay saying, what is my purpose? I share that question and maybe the other ways you can find it out. And my purpose is always change. It's not always changing, but my purpose now is different than it was 10 years ago. My purpose now is more focused on primarily being the best that I can be and being best servant I can be. And always, as much as possible, leading with love. You know, leading with love, I think is a really important. No, I am not 100% perfect. Maybe other gentlemen are, but I ain't. But I want to lead with love as much as I do, and also leading with love, especially with men and those who love them, because I can't love everybody, but I've found out that's my lane, leading with love with men. And your purpose can show up in different ways, different things. And I'll just finish it off with this, that the word success has 3 S's in it: service, sacrifice, and selflessness.
Oh, I thought it was Sid. Because I am the third, you know. I was like,
yeah,
oh, wow.
You are Sid the third, right? So I align that definition of success to my purpose. So I'll just leave it at that for now.
Man, great. Gentlemen, I love everything that you stated, which aligns with, my purpose. I heard Christopher state, he went back and wrote his eulogy, which is something that most people don't care to do, which I think is very smart. As you stated, Dr. Vibe, being the best version of yourself, but serving others. And before this podcast, I actually talked about how it's amazing how some of the energy aligns up and how some of us have some of the same characteristics and things that we want to do. When it comes to purpose, for me, most people know what their purpose are, but sometimes they do not want to fully embrace it. I knew a long time ago at an early age what my purpose was. I was just uncertain on how to go about it. And last week, you guys didn't see me, and thank you so much, Sid, for allowing us to be on this platform. This is actually part of the being in your purpose and aligning yourself with the right people. I wasn't here last week because I decided that my wife and I was going to take a fast. And that goes back to just being diligent in regards to making sure I can stay on my purpose. So it was more of a spiritual / health and wellness fast. But part of my purpose, man, is helping people to be the best version of themselves. So no matter where I go and people I come in contact with, I'm always helping them get to the next level. I talk to leaders from across the world all the time. Nevertheless, they're great at what they do, but sometimes it's issues in the background that we don't want to acknowledge. And it goes back to purpose. Men, we spend a lot of time, and this is by studies, more than sometimes 21 hours a week just in the drift. If you're in the drift, you can't be in your purpose. You're going to be more reactive versus proactive. So how do you find that purpose? It's part of just being on that journey, getting more connected with God and really embracing and realizing sometimes that purpose can be scarier than you anticipated. And I realized why I was somewhat running from my purpose. It was just bigger than I imagined that God had for me.
I've heard all of your purposes, and I honored them, and I sat on a mountain, right, and committed to bringing the world to peace with the Creator, with my grandmom. Gave up food and water for 4 days, 3 nights to come into that, to come into my spirit name and all of that. And here at this point, now that was 2008, so 8 years ago. And now this is what's been magical about me being able to shake my head about that being my purpose. And I've gotten the World Peace Award. Like I've lived into that, right? And so, yeah, what's showing up on my heart now is that I'm not sure that's it, as much as me simply putting God first, because when I think I'm doing my purpose, God actually could be directing me to go somewhere else. And that's where it's interesting to me, because like even today, last night I got a phone call, or not a phone call, but a text message asking me if I would come and help move this person at I finally got the message at 10 at night, and I'm helping my wife get ready because she had a surprise trip that we didn't know she was going on it because of she's a school counselor, so she needed to go with them to help manage these kids as they go down to Key West for 4 days. So there's that. So then eventually I said, hey, look, I gotta help my wife. So then I go and get my wife help, and I don't get their message saying they got someone else there. Don't worry about it. Thank you, whatever. Yet I woke up with it on my heart. Man, because if someone asks for help, I like to be there. And at the same time, I had to honor it that in this moment, I haven't mastered how to be in 2 places at the same time. Right. So I had to go through that, which I took as my purpose. But then I go in, I wake up to start the day, and I'm sitting with journaling. I'm sitting with reading for 52 days on Yeshua's message and then I sit and meditate, and then I go teach meditation. So I'm going through all these motions. And in yesterday's reading that I did was about the Good Samaritan, right? Today's reading was about a boss giving 5 tenants to one worker, 2 tenants to another, and 3 tenants or 1 tenant to another. The one that he gave 5 invested. I'm doing this as fast as I can. The one that he gave 5 invested, gets 10. He's helped all these people. That's where he invested, and it brought back an extra 5. The second one did the same thing, so he got 2. The last one said, I only got one tenant. I need to go bury it and protect it. And so he ended up with just that 1 tenant. And so then it goes on to say, God's not looking for what you have to give. Basically, I'm summarizing this. God is looking for your effort with what you have. And so that was my effort, right? Like my effort could have been go and help my wife, right? But I couldn't see clearly in that moment. So, and I'm okay with it. It's just okay. It's not that big deal. She got moved. All the different things that needed to happen happened. And then I go to read the autobiography of a human earlier today at 8 a.m. And when I'm reading it, same thing comes up in my own words, in my own life. There it is right in my book. I'm reading the part that says, here's what you need to do in order to become God realized. This is all the things. Like I'm reading it. This is what my grandmom told me then. And it's now really every it's 7 to 10 years when you get a moment, 7 to 10 years for it to become in your body. So here it is now, it's in my body. And I had to actually face that moment of saying no and waking up with it on my heart so that I could get here in this moment to not Sid's purpose, but God's purpose. Mm. God putting me everywhere that I need to be in divine time. You know, so I'm not sure what you all took from that yet. I know it's in my head, but it needs to get in my body so I can make sure I feel it and deliver it and be it, and how it's showing up, that the Creator puts us exactly where we are meant to be. And that's my number one thing, to actually live in my purpose, is to surrender my thoughts about my purpose so that I can be in my purpose. That's what I got. I put a lot down, so whatever you picked up, roll with it.
Well, I would say I picked a lot up from what you just stated. See, and that's a different part of purpose. Is still in alignment to purpose, but we also got to ask, if we're on our purpose, is this aligned with God? And that's 2 different relationships. Sometimes, men, we have our own way of doing things, but as you stated, is this God's way? Do God really have me on this purpose? And sometimes the journey to the purpose can be 2 different ways, but it does go back to having a relationship with God.
I'll jump into, for those who are watching out there, I just want to add on to what's been shared. Purpose is not just about success. It's not just about its success. For me, it's also about impact, integrity, and peace of mind. Because a lot of people, you know, purpose, this and success, but it also has, who's it impacting is also in making you good with your integrity to yourself, but also others. And also is it providing peace of mind to yourself and others. Because I feel that you're in good alignment with your purpose. It's working through you, not just in you.
Like
just a thought.
Yeah, it really carries over to your values. When I think about my purpose and the people that I've helped find their purpose, you know, number one, it's like, okay, what are your top 5 values? What is it that you value the most? And are you living congruently with those values? Because if you're not, then there's an opportunity, there's a space, there's a gap that you can solidify by saying, okay, these are my values and this is what I choose to do and live by every single day. And so what I encourage people to do is when they wake up in the morning, rather than grabbing their phone and looking at what's wrong in the world and thinking about all the terrible things that are going to happen that day, number one, gratitude. And then number two, what's my intention? What's my intention to serve my purpose? How can I share my values and be a part of the solution rather than part of the problem today? And stay in alignment with myself, right? We talked about that here on the show so many different times. Like when you're in alignment with yourself and you're feeling good about what it is that you're putting out in the world, it's pretty incredible what you can attract and how you can start to feel that sense of confidence that that your purpose is being fulfilled in any way, shape, or form, as long as it's guided by those values. But so oftentimes we're focused on everything else but our values. And so I encourage people to sit down and write them out and then stick them on their dashboard, stick them on their computer monitor. And then when they're having those moments of frustration or scarcity or imposter syndrome, whatever it might be, am I in alignment with those values? And what can I do perhaps in this moment? What can I do perhaps today that can make that sense of purpose extend out to somebody else who might be in need? And when people do that, they come back and tell me, like, Chris, it's really not about me. It's about the fact that I get to connect and I get to be in alignment with my human brothers and sisters and make that difference, no matter how small or how big it might be.
I'm feeling full today, so I'm gonna, if I have permission, add some more things. I think for me, a man's purpose becomes clear through service, responsibility, and lived experience. Not just thinking about it, but doing it. And also, purpose and character go together. Who you are matters as much as what you do. Mm-hmm. And also, just adding on to what Chris said, not only naming your values, but writing down your values. Because when you know your values and you see them visibly and write them down, it helps you guide through decisions when life gets tough.
Mm-hmm.
So break that down for me. What is a value? Your values.
Are you asking all of us? You asking me? Who you asking?
Anyone. Just what does that mean? When you say your values? Because when I look at, we got some people that are leading, and their values are definitely different than mine. Mm-hmm. But yet they still get to execute them. Like for me, it's not necessarily now. And I will say this, as Ryan said, our purpose always changes. My purpose.
Ryan, I know Ryan, good guy. Go ahead.
And so when I look back at sitting on the mountain and accepting Nahi Adonai Nuatu Hiadu, which is my native name, right? Like the shift, the evolution of my name from Sid to that. He brings peace. And then living into that so much that I receive an award I don't even know I'm getting, or it's even out there. And then, and yes, as Chris said, like in the beginning, a lot of it was to have gratitude for the things that I couldn't even find any gratitude in. Being beaten as a child, it took me a long time to find the gratitude in that,
Mm-hmm.
And that was the initial. And now as I'm here in this space of, okay, I'm putting God first. It's not about my values. Like, that's what I mean. When I say that, I'm saying God is before even my values. I remove me completely on all things and put God first and just live into, for whatever reason, each of us was created to do what we were meant to do. But we can't even imagine what that is because we didn't create ourselves. So then I have to truly say, God, yep, I got it. That's a signpost. I got closer, but it's not me because I can perceive it. If you can perceive it, it's not really you. Like, you is not perceived. It's just who you are. And so that's where I'm at when I look at, all right, put God first. It's not about my values. And that's okay. And everybody should, and at the same time, it's like a coin, like it's going right back around on itself. I'm sitting here saying this, and I also want people to find their own values. Like, because if you haven't found your values yet and taken the steps, you can't just jump and say, I'm putting God first, and now you go slay the world. Like, that's not it. Like, so it's just an interesting, I don't have the answers for it. I just know that that's where it is for me. Like, And as I read in the autobiography, and Lenz was telling me what my grandmom said to everybody sitting when I was out on the mountains. She said, "You all won't understand, Sid. It's not your purpose. Sid is different than all of it that we know about, because when Sid's done, this is what when it really hit me when I was reading this morning. When Sid's done, Sid will have pulled the creator on earth to live. Everybody else before this has been on their way to death." And so that's why I don't really have words for this. Like, and I'm sharing, I'm being vulnerable, and people can come on there as bots and dispute what I say and all the different stuff. And I really don't care, because I'm gonna put God before your comments. Even if your comment says, "Hey, Sid, that is perfect," I'm still gonna put God first. That's how I know that now, that is truly how I'm gonna be on earth, is getting me completely out of the way so it can live through me 100%. And if anybody else wants to do that, good for you. Maybe it's your purpose. I don't know. I just know that's my purpose right now. So yeah, in this moment, it's like I'm talking to you all as I'm part of the circle, which we are, and ingesting what's happening to me. Like, I can't make up that my wife, some reason, is gone for 4 days in the moment that I'm like this, where I don't even get to talk to her. Like, nope, you're not gonna get to talk to her about it. I'm saying put me first. So over the next 4 days, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have some wild dreams, some interesting moments. I got this banging in my ear that only shows up when I say something or think something wild. And I say wild in the sense that it's not my thought. And then it goes boom, boom, boom. And that I feel like that is God saying, "Hey man, are you freaking gonna listen?" Like, it's really like that in my head. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that.
If I can add to what you're saying, Sid, and this is deep. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that, man. As you stated, you went on the mountaintop, man, and fasted for 4 days with no food, no water, or no food, if I understand correctly. But once again, it was depriving for water. So that's a whole nother level of fasting, as well as getting closer to God. But I will say this: when it comes to us as men, and just people in general, you have to get that clarity with God. You have to get that connection with God. And part of that is, once again, everybody probably don't know what it looks like, but deep down inside, you have an idea of what you're called to do. But the more you spend that time with God, the more you get connected. And sometimes it takes you off the path that you think you should be on. And it may just divert you. I remember helping a client, which is now one of my best friends. So I don't have too many of them. I have a very small circle. When he retired, he was uncertain how he wanted to move, but he knew he wanted a certain income. Well, after attaining that certain income, he still wasn't happy. And after going through an intensive session with me, we was able to get some clarity using my CSP formula, clarity system, and passive income. Once we got that clarity, he redirected his life, gave up that career, which he knew was going to be kind of, a battle between him and his wife, but gave up the career, pivoted to another career that I can tell you it's 4 years later. The man is much happier. Family is doing much better, making more money, having more time, only because he got more focus into his purpose versus chasing what I would call that carrot that sometimes we're chasing. And now he's living in his purpose. And when you start to live and walk in your purpose, one thing I can tell you from experience, you don't meet a lot of resistance. God kind of lines things up. I was doing a masterclass helping entrepreneurs and husbands and wives communicate and work better together. Had no idea what I was doing, gentlemen. However, God aligned everything up that it just felt in place. Had no idea what I was going to speak about, who was going to be part of the panel. God made it happen. But once again, that goes back to understanding your purpose, but also, as Sid stated, and I agree with him wholeheartedly, is this of God? And as you start doing this, it does matches up with your values. my values don't align up with everyone. So certain things I just can't do it. Don't matter what my purpose is. Your values is different than my values. Therefore, we can't do it. I'm complete, gentlemen.
I want to hear some more from Chris, because all of you are fantastic. Chris, I want you to talk a little bit more about the importance of values and purpose, because you really have me captivated what you've been sharing about the importance of values when it comes to purpose. Is there anything else on your heart that you can share with all of us today about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's and thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. You know, it's something. There's often times that we're guided by our ego. We're guided by what we're supposed to do. Like, you're supposed to have a family, you're supposed to graduate college, you're supposed to have a job, you're supposed to stay in a career, you're supposed to, all these things that we're supposed to do. And I think this conversation, we're all saying the same thing in somewhat different ways. It's all about the surrender to the opportunity of serving whatever your higher purpose is, whether it's God, whether it's your spiritual self, whatever it might be. And so when I talk to people and they're lost, oftentimes they're lost in the things that they think they're supposed to do, the things they're supposed to accomplish, money and status and prestige and all these different things. So what I did is I have a values list that I send my clients, and I sit there and I say, take a look at all of these. I think there's something like, I don't know, 50 values. And so what I ask them to do is, like, what speaks to you the most? Like trust and honesty and respect, or patience, or relationships, or humanity, whatever it might be for you, and start to narrow the focus of, I got to do all these things, to being able to sit there and narrow it down and say, okay, am I living in alignment with truth and honesty with myself? And so when we do that, then we're more on purpose with the person that we're becoming in terms of our spiritual selves, as opposed to our egoic selves. And that's why it ties into the legacy so much, is that when somebody asks themselves, you know, if I died tomorrow, who would show up and what would they say? Oh, he would say he was a hard worker. He was a good guy. But did he give back to his community? Did he go to church? Did he set the example for other people to follow? So for me, it's really about also identifying what it is that we don't want, because we're really good at being able to say, you know, I don't want to be a failure. I don't want to ruin my family. I don't want to have terrible relationships. I don't want to destroy my body. And so we flip that on its tail and be able to say, okay, so I'm a person who values taking care of my body. And if you look at it in the God's way, that my body's my temple. And so that starts to be, okay, my purpose is to set the example for other people to follow by taking care of that and inspiring other people, and perhaps maybe taking that to the next level and becoming a teacher, you know, whatever it might be in meditation, a teacher in yoga, whatever it might be. For me, I started to realize my purpose when I was deciphering, you know, being homeless and suicidal and drugs and alcohol and all these different things. I'm like, how can I turn that around to work for me, not against me? And so that suddenly became my purpose. And I never shared with people that I had been homeless and dug through trash cans and all that stuff. I was too embarrassed. But once I started sharing that, I found my purpose in being able to connect with people and being able to share those experiences and have them be vulnerable back, and being able to have a dialogue about, okay, what is it that we can do to reshape that pain in our life to become our purpose? And that's something I've been very successful at. And people taking like, well, this happened to me and this happened to me, this happened to me. And I'm like, what would it feel like if you said that was happening for you? And so those little nuances of going from that victim space and I don't know what to do and I'm just trying to survive and I'm overwhelmed and I'm just trying to figure it out, to, wow, the things that have happened in my life and the things that are happening in my life, like you said, Sid, is what's preparing me for what's next. And I know for so long I was in the corporate space and very successful and very egoic and had the corner office. And then I got into coaching just like that. I just started helping people and using my pain and being able to realize that happened to prepare me to become this person, this conduit to help other people. And now I feel called, because I have surrendered that egoic part of my life, which was not easy. And now I feel called to serve humanity, to be a bigger voice, to bring the love into the space. That's why I was sharing with you guys before we went on air about the documentary. And now I feel that calling, that my purpose is to unite the world and use the platforms and use my experiences and use my love for humanity to even a higher escalation point than I have in the past. So for me, it's about that that focus of who it is that I'm becoming and who it is that the legacy I get to leave behind, and setting that intention every single day to focus on the things that work for me and the things that bring value to my life and that make me feel a sense of accomplishment and a sense of serving each night when I go to sleep. So I hope that helps.
Thank you, Chris. No, I really appreciated hearing that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's helped quite a few people.
I want to circle back. Thank you, Chris, for that. Circle back to the food plane.
Oh, one of my loyal Dr. Vi family. He comes with questions, boys. So be ready. He comes with questions.
Here's the first one. What does failure play in finding your purpose? And one, for me, there's no such thing as failure. Like, correct. There's a baseline for me, and that's peace. And when I have peace at 100%, everything is, which most people would say, all these self-help people, everything is love. Well, if everything is love, then what's not love? Like, you got to start there. Like, you can't make a statement, everything is love, and then think that anything isn't love. The only difference from love to anything else is when you lose peace, you fall into the illusion because you are interpreting something outside of love, but yet it's love. So failure is part of the process. Failure is a guiding space. It's a stepping stone for me that says, okay, you just missed the mark. Go here because you just failed. Now you just learned how to succeed. So it really is just that simple for me. Like, anytime I misstep, and some may call it failure, I just call it a redirection that moves me into the direction of where I'm meant to go. And God is always talking. It's called your feelings. You don't like failure and you like winning. Winning says God is giving you the feeling of which direction to go. Failure says God's trying to redirect you into the place where you're going. So I just continue to go back to, all right, there is no failure. God's just trying to get me on the right track.
Well said.
I will add to that as well, Sid. And thank you to the food plane for that question.
He's got a few of them, so get ready, guys.
Okay. Thank you, Daryl, for the question. I would tell you some of my greatest, what you would call failures, has been my greatest lessons. In 2014, I started a comedy tour. And part of that comedy tour was resurrecting some of the legendary comedians. And started off on the tour, man. The tour started off as a bust. But from there, it also developed into some other relationship and some other insights I had no clue about. Did a real estate flip in Georgia with a partner. It was a bust, but it was a great lesson within that. I learned so many things from that I really can't say it was a failure, because all of this is part of the journey. And knowing what I know now, I thank God, like, God, thank you so much that you didn't elevate me in some of the areas, because I realized I wasn't ready. And he have saved me from a lot of things. You know, when I first came into this and before I joined the military, man, I wanted to, you know, be in the entertainment. Started a record label, man. I had that mentality, get rich or die trying, that 50 Cent had. Thank God I didn't pursue that. I learned some lessons from that. And part of that lessons, once I started learning the entertainment industry, I'm like, whoa, this don't align with my values. I love the entertainment aspect of it. I love the messaging. But thank God that he gave me clarity. But so I will say this, once again, that's part of the journey. And you have to be willing. You have to be willing to sacrifice losses that come along the way, but don't take it as a loss. Take it as a lesson learned.
Well said.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. It's good. That's good.
All right, next one. Here we go.
I told you.
Is discipline versus passion when it comes to purpose?
Ooh.
I mean, now that I know that my real purpose is to, I knew it, and I've said it, and I've been interviewed about what my grandmom said about me, right? But now to actually step into it and continue to put God first, that is all discipline. It's very little to do with my passion about it, because I could be passionate about it and then come on down off that passion horse, and the next thing you know, it's gone. And now I'm doing whatever I do to take me away from God. So the discipline of that, when the moments get tough, when my child calls and says, Dad, I'm struggling. And I'm like, all right. And I'm like, nah, I got to go put God first. Like I got to do that. Now, fortunately, in those kind of moments, typically that would be God directing me to the answer from my child. But yet, either way, I'm still going to follow it. My child hears this right now. It could sting a little bit because, like, man, my dad was always there. Nah, I'm here, and I'm waiting on God to tell me what to do. I think it's those moments in the Bible where someone has to sacrifice their child, and then eventually God says no. Like, that's real for me. So, I mean, I can't even. In my brain, I can't even wrap my brain around what I'm actually saying yet in my body. Because I know there's part of me, my ego says, yeah, take care of your kid. My highest self, which is God, which is inside of all of us. You wouldn't be alive if God wasn't in you. So let's get clear on that. You don't have to run around telling everybody you're God now, but you are. And then you are.
Yes.
As soon as you think you are,
Tell my wife.
Yes, real talk.
But you are not. And I am, but I am not. Like, that's just real. And so I sit with that in the sense of, okay, then I just got to lean into that. God is going to direct me, period. Exclamation point. And it's directing all of us. And sometimes someone needs to actually be in the suffering.
Yes.
To remember God, like, and to gain the discipline, to get beyond your passion and turn it over to God. And I know that the one I'm thinking of my children, a lot of times it is about that person. Even though they intellectualize and verbalize and say it's about God, but nah, I can see it. And I've been there. It's not a bad thing. It's just real. Like, for me to let go and say, all right, yes, I want to go and teach a packed class all the time or go to a stadium and sing in front of millions of people. Well, if that's not God's purpose for me, that's not going to happen. I can go to that venue and I've done it. I've sold thousands of tickets and only a couple people showed up, but they all paid their money and never asked for it back. Like, that was real. That was real in my life. My grandma was like, grandson, what did you do? Because here comes a hurricane. The hurricane came. That was partially why they didn't show. And then there was a hawk that came and snatched two birds playing in the spring, making love. And then a hawk came and grabbed one of them out of the bushes. The other one shot out and the hawk took it up in the tree and bit its head off. And my grandma said, grandson, you got to stop holding that energy that way. You're biting people's heads off. They aren't showing up. And that stops when I just say God's first. Like, the ego energy doesn't come out of me because I just say God's first. So now, don't get it twisted. You could catch it, but only if God says give it to him. That's real for me. So it's that, going back to this conversation of purpose, it's truly, where am I now? And how does God want me to be in the moment? Not what I think of it. And I think that's just the next step for us as a species. I know it's the next step for me. And I feel like I'm not witnessing it in our leaders today. God first. God first. Like, God first. Think before you do. Don't bomb the children.
So I will add to that, Sid. When we think about some of our great leaders, some of the things they have done back then, you will say, man, that was crazy. But you have to have that type of vision, that type of energy for God to put that upon you. As you stated about Abraham, Abraham was told to sacrifice his son. Martin was told to unite the world. Malcolm was given assignment. And a lot of these assignments that they were given, these was assignments that wasn't easy. Even Gandhi. So when you look back at what they did back then, it was idiotic or crazy back then. But when it's of God, it's of God. And I agree with you, Sid. I don't see what a lot of our leaders are doing. But even when I reflect on some of the songs, I'm a big fan of Michael Jackson. When I go back and listen to more of the lyrics of his songs versus the entertainment with the choreography, which was amazing, it there was a lot of messaging in the songs that applies today. Mike said it in one of his songs, They Don't Care About Us. And he talks about the geopolitical climate. And he was very, very skillful in his songwriting. But when you go back and look at some of the things that the leaders have done, they have already warned us, as if God sent them as if they were prophets. So when we're operating in our purpose, it may be strange to other people, but when God got you on that purpose, it is what it is.
Yeah, I want to go back to this one that Daryl said. Can you expound on when you mean this? You say you are God. Okay, and I appreciate the question as opposed to just going. Everyone goes out and just says Sid thinks he's God, because I've had that, and that's okay. It just is what it is. It's not people. Most people's words have nothing little to do with me, and they say everything about who they are. Yet, when it comes to God, God is everything. So again, it's like love. Love is everything. So you can't say that this thing you don't like isn't love if love is everything. Or you're saying that love isn't everything. So the God that I know, that the thing that created everything, and I don't call it him, because him says it's not her. So I call it it. Because I actually, in this human body, I can't even begin to have a conscious level on what God is, because God is everything out there too that I don't even have a concept of. I don't even have a concept of the stars in the sky, the universe that we all sit in. So therefore, God is all of that, but God is me. God created me. I don't have a thought that God doesn't have first. I don't have an action that God doesn't create first. God is everything, including me. Now, am I the God in the sense that I created the universe? Yes, if you know that you are that God. But me, the Sid, the fingernail, like when I explain it like this. Here's the hand of God. And this is a really abstract picture. I'm an abstract artist that sells abstract art. This is a very small picture because the hand of God is the whole universe. And I am a fingernail at best on the hand of God. But it's still God. The fingernail doesn't do anything that I don't tell the fingernail to do, that my hand doesn't let it do, that my arm doesn't let it do, that my body doesn't let it do. And it's I that am letting it do it. God is letting me do all of that. So that when I say I am God, I am the thing that moves me. Regardless of my pinhole-sized brain that thinks that I am doing anything. It's so small in the universe. We've been around for 24 seconds compared to how long the earth has been. 24 seconds is a blip in our lives. So then it's okay. I don't need to know everything. That's a human default to me, needing to know it all. That cancels out God. Every time I think I need to know something, God just got canceled out, and really it didn't. It's just like, I'll let that part of me flounder off until it comes back. So when I say I am God, it's because God is me and it owns me. So anybody wants to add anything to that, go for it.
There's more questions, believe it or not.
I like the new one from the food plane. And
I know you'd like that one.
thank you for asking about the guitars and the music. That's a super tough one. But what habits are holding men back from stepping into their purpose?
Hold on, I think he asked this one first, right?
Yeah, I told you, be ready.
Like
be
you
ready.
gotta
I put it in the chat. I didn't think I was going to answer that
Right.
here, but
Oh,
that's like asking who your favorite kid is. That's pretty rough. But I put in there AC/DC and Bon Jovi. I mean, there's 17 bands that come to mind that are my top two. But the habits that are holding men back from stepping into their purpose, one of the big things is the negative self-talk. You know, it's the language that we use with ourselves, like I'm so stupid, or I'm not enough, or I'll never be able to get the girl, I'll never be able to get the job, or someday when this happens, then I'll be happy. I call it shooting ourselves in the, you know what, but we'll say shooting ourselves in the foot. The negative self-talk. And I think about it this way. If your thoughts were amplified, the way you speak to yourself were amplified so other people could hear it, would you be proud of what it is you're saying? And another way of looking at it is do you use that language with the person you love the most in the world? And I think about my son, he's 9 years old. And I thought sometimes most of my language is really positive because I catch myself. But every once in a while, I'm like, no, I wouldn't be proud of having him hear those thoughts in my brain because that's not what I espouse to him. So again, it goes back to that congruency. I'm huge into alignment and congruency and being good with yourself. So for me, it's eliminating words like never, can't, try, always, and being able to sit there and say, okay, what's the possibility? Like if there's a possibility in there, and starting to shift that negative language and shift the belief that we are an imposter. I've coached so many famous people and so many rich people and all these different things. And it's amazing how many people feel like they're an imposter when they have the actual evidence that shows that they're not an imposter. So really the habits holding men back are not keeping their promises to themselves. Number one, if you keep your promise to yourself like you do for everybody else, it's pretty amazing what you'll accomplish. Number two, taking a look at the negative self-talk in your brain. And I tell people to put a rubber band around their wrist. And when they catch themselves, stop it and say, okay, how can I redirect this? Not to be airy-fairy, but how can I repurpose this or re-say this in a way that it's empowering, that it gives me an opportunity to become a better person in this moment? And then you start stitching those moments together. And it's pretty incredible. 3-6 months later, you're like, wow, I used to really speak really badly about myself and try to put myself on as somebody who was confident. But now I'm naturally feeling more at ease and more in flow with who I am and the legacy that I get to leave ultimately with that purpose. So yeah, I would say those are two big things. And the final thing really that I find is people don't take care of themselves. And so I talk about the 5. It's like hydration, nutrition, sleep, exercise, and vitamin D. Most people don't drink enough water. And their body's like 85% water. You don't drink enough water, you're dehydrated, you feel like crap. And then what do? You feel like, yeah, exactly. I drink like 6 of these a day. You feel like crap. And then what do? You go do this, and then you do this, and then you feel bad about yourself. And then the cycle repeats until something happens. And usually it's something bad that happens that causes us to go, oh, wow, I have type 2 diabetes now. I better take care of what it is that I know I should have taken care of all along. And that goes back to that promise part. So when you start keeping your promises and you start changing that stuff, it's pretty incredible what you can do. What about you guys? What do you think are holding men back?
Well, we're going to keep going around the horn. So I appreciate that. Everything you said. And I'm just giving the warning that this is the last
time
comment. So go for it. Dr. Bob.
Well, what I'll do is I'll just go a little bit on the ego thing and then have a final thought. So wrap it all into one. So we talked a little about ego today, and it's a big thing. So I'm going to give some quick definitions of what I think ego is. So one of the things I say is ego is the voice that tries to protect your image, prove your worth, and keep you from feeling small, even when it pushes you away from the truth, growth, or peace. So a friendlier version of that would be healthy ego says, I matter. Unhealthy ego says, I must win, prove myself, or never look weak. So for me, the goal isn't to kill your ego. It's to keep it honest, humble, and useful. Mm-hmm. And then I'll just end up in regards to my final thought on what purpose is. Simple definition. Purpose isn't only something you find, it's something you practice. I'm complete.
Coach.
Man, I will leave this here with men in regards to purpose, man. You decide what matters, who matters. You also decide on what you're building versus building someone else's dream, chasing what people want you to do. You figure out what you want. You get clarity on what you want to do. And once you do that, this is one thing that men forget. You got to continue to pour into that. You got to stay away from the drift. Men sometimes, and I heard Chris stated earlier, we get caught up in sometimes the self-talk. So you want to continue to keep moving, be proactive. As I tell men that I consult and coach, there's so much that needs to be done. We don't really have time to sit around all day and watch sports. Every now and then I pull myself away just to decompress. But when a man is moving and he's in purpose, there's not enough time in the day. So focus on who you want to be, who you want to serve. Surround yourself with those same men that you want to be a part of and continue to work on your purpose. I'm complete.
Chris, 30 seconds because you didn't know we were closing up, so go for it.
30 seconds. I go back to write your eulogy. For me, that was such a clarifying opportunity, is to write how you want to be remembered for, and then set the intention every single day when you wake up to be that person and fulfill that legacy. And when you do that, then you know that you are on purpose, and as it ebbs and flows, you ebb and flow as well. So just remember that you're only limited by the parameters of your own mind.
Right.
Can I do 10 quick seconds?
Nah.
10 quick seconds. I just want to shout out.
Right.
I want to shout out the Food Plane and Ryan, who are watching this on my YouTube channel, to really take this conversation to a deeper level. So I just want to say a big thanks to both of them.
Absolutely. And thank you all for being here. Thank you for the conversation. I'll see you all in the green room. And thank you to everybody that tuned in today. It's been a great conversation. I'm going to leave it with this. There's a couple things that were addressed in the chat, and we're gonna continue that conversation next week into one of them. And ego, edging God out. That's real for me. Like, my ego gets involved is because I push God out. You know, the word originated with Freud. So with that being said, I don't live the ego version that's really there, because I'm not that caught up in my mom type thing. So you can go figure that part out. But for me, ego is edging God out. Then we're talking about the one thing that came was God. And I'm going to say it like this. Before I start every meditation, I go creator, mother and father of all, the infinite source, beyond space, time, and form, all that was, is, and will be, prime source, great mystery, great spirit, everlasting creator, the holiest of spirit, God. So if you can wrap all of that into one word, God bless you. But for me, that's what God is. God is much bigger than my thoughts of it's even beyond what I can put words to, because it's bigger than me. So I can't put the words to something that I don't even have the words for. It's bigger than me. It's the whole universe. It's everything. I use the word God because I was raised Catholic. Take me somewhere else, I would have used a different word. And I'm going to wait for next week to tell you why Hugh, that book right there, how it came forward. And it actually came birth from that one, those who know God. Hugh is, you can go look it up. Go look up Hugh, and you will find the most ancient word there is. And you'll figure out what that means to me. But I'll talk about it next week. Last, sports. Someone said something about sports and the man factor of sports. But I'm here to tell you, I was in real service when I was a football coach. And every day it was God first, family second, team third. Every day I was dedicated to the same thing. I just finally really know now how to put God first. So with that being said, man, this has been a great conversation, and I'm excited for all things to come. We'll see you soon. Peace.
I've been at peace for so long. It seems like I've been sitting all alone. Would you know when the crew is coming through? They're the ones that will make anew. Gotta go, gotta flow, gotta choose the truth. We the ones that will raise the roof. Let's roll up and throw down. Let's go and feel the sound. Good vibes, one try. Can you feel me now? Be you, be me, be free. Go and take it till we bounce the beat. Take it to the streets, make a move the feet. I can slow it down, look in my eyes now. Just like you two want it fast. Spread them wings and make it last. God was the one to erase the past. Time to bring it forward and see the forecast. Did you hear it? Did you hear it? Lift your dreams and fill the glass. Did you hear it? Did you hear it? Lift your dreams and fill the glass. That was God's broadcast. That was God's broadcast. Time to embrace the peace. Time to embrace the peace. Time to embrace the peace.